There are many opinions and some misconceptions about what's happening in the real estate market. Between the interest rates not going down as fast as we would like and having two hurricanes impact our area, there's no doubt that things don't look like they did just a couple of years ago when homes were going on the market and the first day there would be multiple offers well above asking price. Even if you're not thinking about selling your home, it's always a good idea to keep on top of what's happening in the real estate market because it affects your home's value as well. If you are thinking about selling your home, there are a few things that you might want to know and to consider before putting your home on the market. As of today, which is February the 25th, there are 37 properties for sale on Paradise Island. 18 of them are houses, which real estate agents generally refer to as single family homes. And this could be either a single story or a multi-story, doesn't matter. It's still considered a single family home. The other 19 are condos or townhouses. These would be your closest competition if you put your home on the market, but you're also competing with homes in similar neighborhoods along the barrier islands as well. Of those in our neighborhood, the average number of days they've been on the market over the past 12 months is 98 days. They range from brand new on the market, just a few days, to about 6 months right now. In the past year, over the past 12 months, 22 homes on Paradise Island either canceled or the listing expired, which means that it didn't sell during the listing period. That tells us that just putting a home on the market doesn't mean that it will actually sell. So we have 37 properties for sale and 22 that didn't sell during the listed period. And then currently there are 3 single family homes and 3 condos or townhouses that are under contract, and they should be closing soon. Let's compare that to the same time period last year, about the same time last year, so we can get an idea of how the market has changed from then until now. Last year, there were 39 properties that were active at this time of year, of which 7 of them were houses. 32 were condominiums or townhouses, so we've had at least a reduction in the number of condos and townhouses on the market. The average number of days on market was 108, and there had been 40 that didn't sell during the listing period. So let's take a look, first of all, at the single family homes, and let's do a quick look back. In the past 12 months, 32 single family homes sold. So that's an average about 2 to 3 houses selling per month, compared to 23 last year. So this past year, we've actually seen an uptick in sales. 19 of those were cash buyers, so the interest rates aren't a huge factor for them. And the other 12 took loans. And then there was one that was seller financed this past year. This time last year, a year ago, 11 of them were cash and 12 of them were financed. On average, they're selling for about 91% of the listing price. So those that sell are getting pretty close to the price that they want. Now, I do want you to note that some of these had price reductions along the way. So that 91% figure is not based on their original starting price. It's based on the price that it was listed at when it went under contract. This time last year, we were selling at 97% of listing price. So we're seeing here that some people are some buyers are asking for a bigger discount off of the listing price, and the sellers are agreeing to those prices. The average number of days it's taking right now to sell is about 44 days. Last year, we were at 48. And I think it's really important that we take a look at what has happened after the hurricane versus before the hurricane, because obviously, say February of last year through up until September, or the end of September, was more of a normal market, and now things have changed. So let's take a look at what effect this hurricanes kind of have had. After the hurricane, there have been 18 sales. Again, these are just the single family homes. They're getting now 87% of the listing price, and the average days on market is about 29 days. So there's a bit of a decline there as far as the percentage of the listing price. And I'm going to say that no doubt these are going to include some people who wanted to sell and they just were willing to reduce their price because maybe they didn't want to do the repairs or maybe they couldn't do the repairs. So that's going to have some impact on what these home prices are going for as well. When people sell a home and it includes, it's a tear down, because of the substantial damage, it's going to affect home prices kind of globally as well. Now let's take a look at some of the same statistics for condominiums and townhouses. In the past 12 months, 29 have sold. So that's an average of just a little over 2 per month. This time last year, we were at 32. So not a huge difference there. Currently 10 paid cash, 19 were loans. Last year, we were at 22 of them were cash and 10 of them were loans. So I think that what we're seeing here is that there's been some movement on people who are taking advantage of the fact that the interest rates have dropped a little bit, and they're more willing to take out loans now than they were this time last year. On average, they sold for 96% of the listing price. Again, that's the listing price after any price drops were done along the way. And that's about what we saw the same last year as well. The average number of days it took to sell was 111 days, with the longest taking over a year at 415 days, and that was pre-hurricane. I do want you to know that. And 5 of them took 6 months or longer. Last year, the average was about 80, but there were about the same number that took 6 months or more to sell. Now, the post-hurricane numbers, we've only had 2 sales since the hurricanes, and I think that a big part of that is because especially the condominiums, they had to jump through some extra hoops, that maybe had to go through some inspections, not just of the condo itself, but the entire building and the property. That doesn't affect single family homes quite the same way. And so there was probably some renegotiation there. You're dealing with condo associations and things like that. So it kind of slowed things down. We definitely didn't see the same movement on condominium sales post-hurricane, but that's starting to tick back up again. And also 97% of listing price. But as you'll see here in a couple of minutes, the prices have reduced post-hurricane as we would expect them to. And the average number of days on market was 115, and that's until they go under contract. Next, let's take a look at the price per square foot, because that's a very common way to price a home. The price per square foot on single family homes pre-hurricane, and I kind of separated them here and didn't lump them all together, was $397 to $800, down from last year's $409 to $976 the same time last year. And the range for condos and townhomes is $229 to $490 from last year's $259 to $488. As I said, this is a very common way to price a home, but as you can see, that's a really huge range, no matter what type of home you're selling. The reason that there's such a big range is because larger homes sell at a lower price per square foot than smaller homes do, just because of the size. And here on Paradise Island, we have both waterfront as well as non-waterfront homes, so that's going to make a big difference as well. So that's why you have this huge range. And this is why, especially for people like us that live on the barrier islands, Zillow estimates and these other automated home valuation tools that are out there can be so wildly inaccurate. And I really just want you to ignore them, because those tools really only work in neighborhoods that have a bunch of homes that are similar in size and layout, same age. For example, when a developer goes in, puts in an entire subdivision within a few months' time, and all the homes are very similar. We don't have that on Paradise Island. Now, after the hurricanes, we've definitely seen a drop in the price per square foot, with single-family homes going down to $201 on the low end, probably for a teardown. But the top end has also dropped down to $711 a square foot. So that's a big drop from last year's high of $976. And even earlier this year, or earlier last year's price of $800 pre-hurricane. For condos and townhouses, the range on the low end is about $222, which is about the same as it was before the hurricane, but the high end is at $401 versus $490. What all of this tells us is that when it comes to putting your home on the market and pricing it for sale, you can't rely on one or even a couple of metrics. And automated tools are essentially useless. So please ignore what Zillow and Realtor.com and those other websites that offer a fast home valuation, if you just give them your address or the size of your home, whatever they tell you, just ignore all those. They don't know your home. There are many factors that come into play, including all of these that we just talked about, along with your view, the layout of your home, the updates that you've done over the years, how you were impacted by the hurricanes. All of these things and many other factors all come into play when you're selling your home. An experienced real estate agent is going to look at all of these factors, and they're going to help you decide the best price and the best strategy to get your home sold within your time frame and at the best possible terms. Now, I mentioned strategy. Putting a home on the market and just hoping for the best is not a strategy. There are different factors to consider. Maybe you don't need to sell right away, but you do need to get the highest price when you do sell. We can talk about how to make that happen. Or maybe you have a specific date, a specific timeline that you need to sell so that you can move on to the next chapter in your life. We can discuss that as well. It also depends on whether or not you have another house to buy and whether or not you're currently under contract or wanting to go under contract. Right now, we're coming up on what is traditionally the busiest time of the year for people to buy and sell homes, the spring months of March through June. So now is the best time for you to decide what you're going to do because it gives you the most options. Activity drops after that and gets really slow towards the end of the year near the holidays, regardless of where you are right now. If selling your home is something that you're going to be looking to do in the upcoming months, the first step in that process is to talk to a real estate agent. Don't spend money on upgrades and don't start looking for another home that you might fall in love with until you have that initial conversation about your current home. Together, we can figure out the best approach depending on what you want the final outcome to be. Give us a call or send an email or a text when you're ready to take that first step.